Welcome to your messages for the rest of 2025. Hi, everybody. I'm Devin Dewar, and these are your updated messages from your spiritual team. This is your angels, your guides, your higher self, spirit guides, passed away loved ones, ascended masters, whoever you work with on your spiritual team. And I am connecting here on your behalf, which is always my honor. We're going to be talking about the messages that are coming up right now through the end of 2025. We're picking up on some of the themes that I downloaded last week during the live I did on September. If you missed that, definitely check it out because there were three main themes to know about September. So we're going to kind of be jumping off from that point and going forward. Now, remember, this isn't all signs reading, but I always encourage you to listen to all 12 signs, not just your big three, your sun, moon, and rising, because you have all 12 signs in your chart. And if you want to know more about why I teach that, I have a link below called Know Your Signs. It's a free downloadable PDF. Teaches you where you have different signs in your chart, how to pull your birth chart for free, and what the houses mean and all that. So I'll leave that there for now, but I do encourage you to grab your journal, be ready to write down anything that resonates, no matter the sign, because a lot of times you will have things going on in a certain sign that you don't normally listen to, but you'll get angel bumps. You'll feel like that message is for you. You'll have a knowing that this message is for you. So please write it down so that you have that beautiful gift of hindsight to come back and see the way you were receiving messages. So let's jump right in to this overall energy that I am getting for the rest of 2025. Quick little announcement here. I do have Chris Reck, my good friend Chris Reck, coming back on my channel next week from Minnow Pond Tarot. We are going to be talking about updated energies as well. But he and I did a rest of 2025 video back in, I want to say it was either July or August. So check that out as well, because this is basically an update to a lot of those messages we are getting. And it's bringing in a lot of that eclipse energy, which at the time I'm recording this message, it is September 3rd. So we are right before one of the first eclipses for this quote season that they call it. And I'm not really sure why they call it eclipse season. It's only 2 this year, but it is encapsulated by these new moons in Virgo. We had that last new moon in Virgo. We have an eclipse coming up this Sunday, the 7th. And then we have another eclipse happening with the second new moon in Virgo on the 21st. So this is what's launching us into this final quarter of the year, which of course we will be moving into fall here in the Northern Hemisphere. Those of you in the Southern moving into spring. Happy spring to all of you. I'm sure you're feeling it. And we're feeling it here too. I think a lot of us are ready for the fall equinox here. So we're being launched into this energy right now that is going to set us up for this final part of the year. And that's why my guides came through and said, let's talk about the overall energy for the rest of the year so everybody can start planning. And of course, as always, I will definitely update you every single week. I'm here every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central. Hello. Moonlit Sparkle Shop is here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. What hemisphere are you about to enter fall? Are you feeling like getting out those fall decorations, welcoming fall in, or are you in the springtime, ready for the flowers? Well, one of the big things I wanted to bring up right away is we are all going to be feeling things in our physical body in a more intense way right now, all the way through the end of Virgo season. So right now we are in Virgo season. On the 22nd, the sun will move into Libra, which will bring a lot of balance to those things. But if you're noticing that you're feeling things in your body you normally wouldn't, especially if you hear somebody say a particular word or bring up a particular topic, because we also had Mercury move into Virgo yesterday. If you're standing in line and you overhear somebody talking about something and you feel a reaction in your body, this is where I'm going to encourage you to practice the energetic cord cutting that I teach. And if you don't know what that is, I have videos on it. There's tons of videos online, so I won't go into it here. But you're going to want to really watch for when is your physical body having a reaction to a conversation, to a message, to a headline. This is a sign that you need to shield your energy more. Now, it doesn't mean we're burying our head in the sand and we're not paying attention to anything that's going on around us, but we are being asked to shield our physical bodies energetically in a much bigger way. So that means practicing daily cord cutting, maybe multiple times a day, shielding your energy if you're not familiar with shielding techniques. I do have a course coming out very soon that talks about those things. It's similar to what I taught when I taught my angel communication class last winter, this past winter, the beginning of the year. We are now going to be releasing that in a digital form. I'm not going to talk about it too much right now, but definitely signed up for my free newsletter at devindoer.com if you want to know more about that. Another quick fun thing we're going to be doing is we are planning at this point in time, I will have more details later, but I am planning, thanks to your feedback, to do a journaling challenge in October. I did this last November, every day of November. I got up early in the morning. I pulled some cards for you guys. We journaled together. It was really, really powerful. It was helping you create your own book of evidence, proof your angels and spiritual team are with you, tracking all those numbers, tracking all those signs. So we're going to do it again in October because September, again, go check out my messages from last week for all of September if you didn't, is a month of us tuning in on a different level, and we're going to be getting so many downloads. You need an organized method to track it all. We are all going to be receiving it differently. Our antennas are all built differently. So back to my initial message about going through from now through the end of the year, really checking in with when somebody calls you up and says something, do you feel it in your body? And in that scenario, what can you do to shield yourself? If it's a pleasant feeling, that's different. But I'm talking about those feelings, those conversations, those topics that make you tense, that make you feel a pain in your neck, your head, your leg. Even if it is a tingling feeling, notice it, okay? These are big things coming up for all of us. Hey, AC from NYC, good to see you there. Hello, Ceramics Ash, good morning. Yes, great to see you all here. Oh, I'm glad to hear you missed that, AC. I miss doing it too with all of you. Oh, yes, Moonlit Sparkle Shops in Texas, just like me. Yes, we're in the same aura. Love it. So, yeah, we are going to be feeling this starting right now, and it's going to last. It's going to last pretty much through the end of the year. But this is an opportunity to see where you're being affected, because it's not going to be as intense as it is right now towards the end of the year. That's why it's good practice. In fact, it's being brought to your attention right now because maybe certain times of the year you wouldn't feel it, but it was still having an effect on you, if that makes sense. Just think of any time, from your past where, if somebody would call you up and you noticed every time you got off the phone with them, you had like a pain in your neck or your back or your head. What was it about that conversation? Was it what the person was always talking about? Was it the delivery? And it's not pointing fingers at the other person. It's more just an observation of the way energies come in. And it's up to us to shield ourselves from those things. The second thing that was coming through to start planning between now and the end of the year is some sort of sabbatical time for yourself. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about you have to go to the other side of the world for 6 months or a year. I'm talking about 1 to 2 days between now and the end of the year that you can turn off the outside world and go within. And I'm asking this to be before the end of the year. They're showing me ideally it would be sometime in October, before the end of October, that you could do this, but I know how hard that is. We have 3 kids in different sports and activities, running around from thing to thing. It's like there's only so many drivers, or there's only so many places you can be at once. So it doesn't necessarily mean you need to go somewhere or it needs to be overnight, but start thinking about that. If you were going to take 1 to 2 days to disconnect from your normal daily routine, whatever that would be, with work, at home, getting errands run, where would you go? What would you do? Ideally, they're saying it would be that you would actually leave your normal environment. Now, I know that's not always available to all of us. You might choose to make it a staycation due to limited resources or whatever. If you can, find a way to go somewhere else, even if it's just during the day, you're driving to a park on the other side of town, where you can sit peacefully with your journal uninterrupted. This is something you are being asked to think about and ask for and call in. Because like I said, we are going to be getting all of these downloads. Now, what would be the most ideal is obviously that it is sometime, at the end of October, early November, where you've maybe done the journaling challenge with me. You've got all this evidence that you've been tracking in your journal, because I'm going to show you how to do that like I always do. And then you can have that time for hindsight. See, hindsight is my favorite thing. It's one of the most powerful tools for deepening your trust and your connection with your spiritual team, your angels, your guides, your higher self, because it's just you in the moment tracking the things you're getting without overanalyzing it, without overthinking it. And then you have this ability to go connect the dots. And I've shared this with you before, how many times I've gone back to a journal from 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and I have seen connections and synchronicities I didn't see in the moment. I didn't even see a month after that. It took me having that hindsight to go back and highlight it and go, wow, this all happened at the same time. This coincided with this calendar event and this health event and this meeting this person. And it's just, you can't make it up. That's what we love to say in this interview. You can't make this stuff up. I was listening to somebody the other day talking about, when you get on the quote train of your spiritual path, your journey, you never quite get back off. You might take a pause at a rest stop for a while. You might get off at a station and take a break, but you're never completely off that train once the door is open. So give yourself that gift of hindsight by writing everything down along the way, and that's going to really help you. Sometimes I hear my clients or students say, I haven't been as spiritual lately. I've been out of my practice. I always ask them to back up and change the way that they're wording that. There are so many things that can be spiritual. It can be spiritual to do your laundry. It's about the intention. It can be spiritual to sit and watch your grandkid play, right? There's so many ways to be spiritual. There's no right or wrong way. The key is noticing and observing it and having that opportunity to write down the things that come to you through that. Because I have often had my biggest downloads when I'm washing my dishes or when I'm on a walk, which is not even necessarily a meditation type walk. It's a workout walk, and yet the idea will drop in. So we don't want to discount those things there. Oh, AC says she's been asked to go camping. Maybe that could be a great trip. Yeah, beautiful. Hey, Hubert, great. So glad you're here. Oh, you're so sweet. I appreciate it. Well, we were just going over some of these themes: cord cutting, shielding our energy, of course, tracking everything you're getting, planning a little getaway if you can. AC, it's great that you've been invited to go camping with somebody. I'm also being asked, we're also talking about some solo time here if you can. I know that's not easy for everybody, but that is something that I'm hearing. So even if it's just half a day that you're planning to, let everybody know where you're going. Even if it's a staycation in your house, you're like, I'm going to this corner of the house. I'm closing the door. I'm not coming back out till dinner time because I'm going to be doing my own journaling, my own self-reflection, right? These are the things we're being asked to consider. Now, going forward with the energy that we had about the downloads we're going to be getting, about the way we're going to be tuning in, I just got the biggest shout of joy in my heart, because they want you to know you have new spiritual team members coming to work with you. Before the end of the year, your spiritual team is getting even bigger. And I just got full angel bumps down the back of my head here. My heart is bursting with joy. That's my truth signal. And I am telling you, more team members are coming. You're thinking, I don't even know all the team members I have right now. Well, don't worry. That's what my course is going to be for. That's coming out very soon. But also, you don't have to know everybody right now. The key is connection. The key is intentionally being aware and open and writing down everything you're getting in your dreams, in your synchronicities, the things that come, the conversations that happen, right? So all these things, when you're listening to messages here on this channel and something resonates, that's why I said it doesn't matter what sign you heard that message under. If it got your attention, that message was for you. So this is the thing. We have these new beings, these beautiful, loving beings each and every one of us that are expanding our spiritual team, helping us take our abilities to the next level. And I'm telling you, if you think you've already started to get a lot of telepathic communication with friends and family and people you know, wait to see it come online even more moving into the next few years, okay? So that's going into the next few years. But go ahead, start practicing right now. Have you ever done any of my telepathy tests? I have a bunch of intuition and telepathy tests on my channel here, but you can also practice it on your own. Some of the simple, easy ways to do this is the next time you hear your phone ding with a phone call or a text message, pause and listen. Do you know who's calling you? Do you have a feeling or a thought? If you know who it is, let's say, maybe you have a ringer for your mom or for your husband or something like that. So you already know who's calling. Check in and see if you know why they're calling. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, but if you feel like it and you get it right, write it down, give yourself credit, because telepathy is going to new heights, okay? Now, a lot of this is going to start with us in dream time. That's the easiest way to practice telepathy. For those of you who have seen my video here on this channel, which, by the way, I plan to stitch together a bunch of my story times soon so that you can watch them together instead of having to go find them. But I have a whole video about the dream that my grandmother came to me and told me, get to work, okay, in 2016. That's when I left my accounting job completely and went full-time into light work, animal communication, angel communication, all of it, right? That's when I started my business. My grandmother came to me and told me, get to work. It was telepathic. She did not move her mouth. She did not make any expression. She just looked me in the eye and I heard, get to work. Okay. So this is a great time to expand your telepathy in your dream time. If you're somebody who wants to go for a little extra credit, start practicing lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is a really great way to work with your dreams. Now, sometimes you can try too hard and almost prevent yourself from doing it. But next time you're in a dream, you might think about or record a dream when you wake up the next morning. Let's say you were talking to somebody in a dream the night before, or a passed away loved one, or just somebody you know from your past. Really ask yourself, were we moving our lips? Were we talking, or were we just having a conversation without talking? And I found that a lot of times you're having a dream visitation from a passed away loved one or from a spiritual being or somebody on your team. A lot of times it is telepathic, okay? Because they don't need their physical body to move to communicate. But use that and practice that. I did my September community member live early this month because of my schedule. So this past Saturday I did it, and I was sharing a story about a recent dream I had where I did have a new guide come to me, he gave me two names. His name was two different names. I had to write it down as soon as I woke up because he showed it to me on a piece of paper. But I don't think at all did I see this guide move his mouth. And he brought me a lot of really valuable information. And even when I couldn't physically see him anymore, I could still hear him, which is what's called clairaudience, clear hearing. I could hear him very clearly. So a lot of times you're hearing things and it's telepathic. So start to notice that. That's a big thing coming through. We are going to go through all 12 signs too, just to add a little more detail here. But I had kind of moved away from offering these themes at the beginning because I thought maybe people were wanting to get right to their sign. But the truth of the matter is, the spiritual teacher in me, my North Node's in Virgo and my 9th house conjunct my Saturn, I have to share these messages with you in a teacher format so that you can take what works for you and you can expand your abilities. You're here because you're a light worker. You have spiritual gifts. You're born with them. They're all different. Like I said, our antennas are all different, tuned in just a little differently. You got to tweak it just a little bit to work for you. So I want to give you all the tools I can so that you can really fine-tune your communication with your spiritual team. And how exciting to know you're getting new guides. Like, that just makes me so happy and so excited for all of you. So please let me know in the comments if you've already noticed your spiritual team expanding. This can come in the form of spirit animals too. It depends on the way that the message needs to get to you and the way the energy works for you. You can also invite guides to work with you if you're needing help with a specific area. So I encourage you to consider that as well. go. Now let's go ahead and jump into all 12 signs here for the rest of the year because I'm feeling so much great energy coming in for everybody. Just keep in mind, it is very valid to listen to all 12 signs and whatever resonates, write it down, okay? And check out my free video below, Know Your Signs, that comes with a free downloadable PDF if you want to understand where you have different signs in your chart and why I say you have all signs in your chart. All right, we're getting started with the Aries. I'm going to go ahead and use my overhead camera today. I'd kind of gotten out of the habit of that lately, but I love using it. So Aries, what do we have for the rest of 2025 for you? We have Page of Water. Sensitive, open-hearted, intuitive. Yes, beautiful. This is something you have been asked to bring into your energy field. We have the Strength card here. Look at that. You know how to do that, Aries. Great inner strength, release harsh judgments, and forgiveness and compassion. That is quite the card for you. And then we have this final card of release and surrender here. So yes, Aries, this is beautiful energy coming in. I really feel like with this Page of Water card, this is just referring to the newness of having Neptune in your sign in Aries. You are a fire sign, but Neptune is a very watery energy, okay? A lot of times it can have to do with dreams and emotions and illusions, right? The moon is like considered an illusion. It's a watery sign there. This is new for you guys, but this is meant to be used, okay? This is something you're meant to use. And what they're saying with this Strength card here is essentially that you don't have to strong arm this. In fact, if you will listen to your intuition first, you'll find that the strength that you need to move forward with something and transition something, it's right there for you. In fact, you're even more empowered because you're taking that time to listen. And then we have this Release and Surrender card here. So I feel like there is some powerful change happening for you. Saturn did just move back into Pisces temporarily for one final pass over some of the things you need to work with there, but it's going to be coming back. And, you know, with Uranus and Gemini now, we're all having to deal with powerful change. And so that Release and Surrender card is so powerful, Aries, because I know you're so used to charging ahead, taking charge of things, planning things out, doing it yourself, whatever that is for you. You know what you want. There's going to be a need for you to allow this new guide, this new energy, this younger, newer energy to come in that's more intuitive. In fact, I really do feel that you're going to be leaning on some of the new members of your spiritual team to see where you draw your strength from. It's not the old way of doing things, Aries. That's what it really comes down to. Is the old way of powering through something. It's more about the surrender, okay? That's where the strength comes in. And it's not a compromise, but it's a trusting the process, all right, Aries? So you'll have to let me know what you're wanting to do between now and the end of the year, because I do feel like if you will trust the process, listen to your intuition, that's where your strength is going to come from for you to wrap up some of these things you're wanting to complete by the end of the year. And I do feel like many of you have had things you're like, I just want to get this next phase done or this project done, or you're wanting to finish something, but there is going to have to be a release and surrender to the way it unfolds. So listen to that intuition and you're going to bring a lot of strength in there. All right. Hey, Margie, great to see you. All right, we just wrapped up Aries there. Let's move over to Taurus. Taurus has Page of Air. Look at that. Truthful, analytical, and outspoken. Seven of Water. A complex decision, the need to do research. Stop procrastinating. Yep. And finally, Blessings in Disguise. Wow. Wow, very cool. Sparkle and Grits here. I'm glad you caught me live too. Great to see you. All right, so first thing we have up here, Taurus, with this Page of Air. You have some big information coming in between now and the end of the year. You're going to be communicating a lot, and people are going to be communicating with you. And this information might feel a little scary. It might feel a little tactless. It might feel a little impulsive. You're going to have to really pay attention to what feels like the truth to you. Now, one of the other things coming through is this Seven of Cups card here, which means you don't want to wait around on the information that's coming through. You don't want to sit want to say sit on your haunches. Sorry, Taurus, but you don't. You don't want to sit on your haunches and contemplate which cup. You need to make a decision. Gather the information and make a decision, because you don't want to get stuck waiting on which decision do I make, and the opportunity passes you by. Now we have this blessings in disguise card here. And that means that recently you've learned some things that you're not quite sure how you're going to take them. You're a little apprehensive about what this means for you in the future. And you've had a couple things not really go in the direction you thought they were going to go, but you're still holding out for these opportunities that are out in front of you. What ultimately is going to happen for you between now and the end of the year is if you will, I'm sorry, I'm really not trying to have puns here, but take the bull by the horns, okay, Taurus, bulls. If you will really get on top of the information that is available to you, really get clear, okay? When somebody tells you something, ask 5 questions. Ask 5, 10 follow-up questions. Don't take the first thing they say as all of it, okay? Especially when we're dealing with this Seven of Water card, right? Where it's like somebody's offering you 7 cups and you're like, what's in cup number 3? And they're like, oh, it's a crystal. And you're like, okay, well, what kind of crystal? Oh, a blue one. Okay, well, what blue, and get to the bottom. It's lepidolite. It's, lepidolite's not blue, is it? I was thinking of, what's the blue one? It's just blinked at my head. Lazuli, lapis lazuli. That crystal is really popping into my third eye. Do any of you have that at home right now? Maybe you should get some. But yeah, this is something that you're needing to bring through. And Taurus says you do so well with crystals. If you don't have any lapis lazuli, consider getting a small piece to carry with you between now and the end of the year. And then this blessings in disguise card is where I feel like some of this information that you're going to be getting feels like a downer or a negative, or it's not quite what you hoped. But then once you get to the end of the year and you get into that energy, you're going to be like, ooh, I'm really glad. It's almost like you've got your eye on one of these 7 cups that you're like, ooh, I really want that one. And then it's like you find out that, oh, the cup's empty, it's spilled over, there's nothing in it for you. Like it was going to be a job offer, or it was going to be a certain department you were going to work in at a job. And then they call you back and they're like, well, we were going to have you work here, but something happened. So now we're going to put you over here. And you're like, oh man, I really had my heart set on that department. And then all of a sudden you realize once you're in there, wow, this is way better. So I'm really excited. I'm getting like lots of angel bumps for Tauruses, that this new thing you're going to be doing between now and the end of the year, just trust the process too. Like we said with Aries, if information comes in that feels negative or scary, ask as many questions as you can. And then also trust that anything that doesn't work out is a blessing in disguise, which we all want to go there when we can, when things don't go quite the way we'd hoped, right? All right, let's switch over to the Geminis now. Oops, skip to Cancer. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go back there. There we go. All right, Geminis. Geminis, we have the 7 of Fire here. Challenge, determination, resistance. You guys have been really on a mission lately, Geminis. And I know it's felt like it has been a challenge. It feels like you're constantly having things come up in front of you. But this is your time to innovate things with Uranus going into your sign. So let's go to the next card first and we'll get some clarity. 9 of Air. It says, expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecy, sleepless nights. Yes, definitely want to focus on not creating these self-fulfilling prophecies. This person is on the hill. They have the advantage. They see what's coming. So do the things you need to do to avoid these self-fulfilling prophecies, right? And then the third card is, and of course we'll bring some clarity here, is let your past go. Let your past go. All right, Geminis, and especially Gemini risings, because you have Uranus in your first house. This is something that you are going to have to really work on, is staying in the moment, right? Things that didn't go the way you wanted in the past, if you keep going back to that, you're risking recreating that battle again, right? But remember, this guy right here on this card has already surpassed all these challenges down here. They're up here going, okay, I see what I've learned about what's happened in the past. Now I need to be compassionate. I need to be forgiving. And I need to move forward with the things that I'm clear on, because also this person has all these mountains behind. So this person just needs to turn around and go towards the new mountains, this new way of living. You are entering a new phase of your life right now, Geminis. And so it's all about letting go of the past, not sitting and replaying something over and over in your mind that didn't work out. Instead, we're going to let it go. We're going to have compassion for ourselves. And if there is something that has happened from your past that is you're really struggling with, do the healing you need to do between now and the end of the year. Because, there will be a little bit of a break when Uranus dips back into Taurus briefly before it stays in Gemini. But there's going to be this opportunity here to heal some of your past. And I feel like a lot of that's going to come through compassion for yourself. So if any of you have ever studied, that idea of going back to a past self and hugging your past self and loving it and telling it you're going to be okay, do that. We can all benefit from doing that. And that's going to help you with letting your passion go. And this is really about taking things one moment at a time, not one day at a time, one moment at a time. So if you're in the middle of the night, waking up, worrying about things, come back to the present. Have some tools with you. Have a journal nearby. Have some angel cards nearby. Keep your crystals nearby so you can ground your energy. Hold on to it. I've done that in the middle of the night. If I'm just really needing to ground my energy, I always have crystals everywhere. I have them on my nightstand. I pick one up and just hold on to it and just try to ground my energy. Like I said, journal. One moment at a time, Geminis. You've got this, okay? It's all going to work out. All right, moving on to how's everybody doing out there? Now we're on the Cancers. All right, Cancers. We've got, for Cancers, a water energy. No surprise there. Knight of Water, romantic, emotional, dramatic. We've got the Six of Water. Look at all this water energy. No surprise with the Jupiter being in our sign, right? Memories from your history or childhood of the past, issues regarding children, romanticizing the past. We Cancers do that, don't we? We sometimes tend to think things were better back when, right? And that's not always the case. And maybe it was, but you can't go back, right? So we have the law of attraction here. We have the law of attraction. What are the things that you can focus on in the now to bring in the things that you want, okay? There are things that you are regretting from your past, things that you're looking back and you're feeling nostalgic, or, it's almost like you're saying, I wish things were back to the way they were when blah, 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 right? Fill in the blank. If you're catching yourself thinking about that, honor the feelings that are coming up for you. Don't squash them down. But remember, we want to focus on this law of attraction card. What you be is what comes, and what you focus on expands, right? So similar to the message we were getting for the Geminis, we don't want to create that self-fulfilling prophecy by wishing things were the way they were in the past. I remember I had this fantastic history teacher in high school who gave us this lecture because he would tell these great stories about the past. I mean, he would practically make you wish you lived back then. But then he would also bring up, people say, oh, I wish it was like the way it was back then. And he's like, No, you don't. You don't know what it was really like, especially before they had, indoor plumbing and air conditioning and, toilets and things like that, right? Like, do you really want it to be back? Plus, they had their own scares and worries, back when my parents' generation was with kids and polio and scary, scary things. They felt really out of their control. So it's really easy to sit there and romanticize the past. But that's not going to help you with attracting the things you want to bring in, okay? Just remember that you can be focused on finding that romance of life. Just make sure you're not being overly dramatic and overly emotional about something from the past, right? What's that saying? You can't go home again. You can go to the location, but it's not quite the same. If any of you ever moved away from your childhood home and then came back for a little while, there's a little bit of nostalgia maybe for some of you. Maybe you felt a little bit like, oh, it's home again, but it's still not quite the same, right? At the very minimum, you're older, the people around you are older, maybe neighbors have moved away. So these are things that we want to watch out for between now and the end of the year. Is don't romanticize the past. Focus on what you want to bring in from the future. And just really focus on balancing that emotion. With Jupiter in our sign Cancers, it's going to be really easy to overreact, over-dramatize, get overly emotional because Jupiter expands things. Everybody always says Jupiter is good luck. It can be if the thing that you want to expand is what you want, right? But it can also expand things you don't want if you're focused on the wrong thing. So that's the main thing I'm getting is you're catching yourself wishing, I wish it was like it way it used to be when. Watch out for that. That's something we do not want to be doing between now and the end of the year. That goes for all 12 signs because it's not going to go back to the way it was. AI is here to stay. Uranus is in Gemini. It's only going to get bigger. All these new things coming on, they're here to stay. So now it's about law of attraction. How do I want that to look in my life? All right. I love that. Okay. Let's move on to the lovely Leos. How's everybody doing there? Hey, April. Great to see you there. Oh, AC's asking about the third deck we have here. Great question. This is the daily guidance deck. It's an oracle deck from Doreen Virtue. And I'm not sure if they're still available, but I love this deck. It might have been one of my very first decks that was oracle. I'm not sure if that's true, but I've used the heck out of it in case you can't tell. I hope these messages are resonating with everybody. If they are, I really appreciate if you'd hit that like button and share this video with anybody you feel it would resonate with. And as always, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, I really appreciate it. It helps my channel grow. Let's move on to the lovely Leos. Leos, how's it going? How was your birthday season? Oh my goodness. All right, so here we have for our first card for the Leos, we have the 3 of Air cards, sorrow, forgiveness, and healing. Yeah, I feel like a lot of Leos have gone through some kind of change, major change. And I actually feel for a lot of the Leos, it's been a little bit of a bittersweet thing. It's not sorrow, it's not heartbreak, it's change. And just like we had with the Cancers and romanticizing the past, it's a little bit like, ooh, I know things change. I know people move on, kids grow up, people change jobs, whatever they move. But it's like, it's bittersweet. It's like you want to see these people do well, but it kind of hurts because it's changing, right? So let's see what else is coming up for the Leos here. We have the Knight of Earth. Okay, I love this. Loyal, dedicated, honorable. It says time to buckle down and get things done. Honor your commitments. And yeah, I'm hearing some messages coming through. Let's pull your third card here. We have creative project. Yep, I knew it was going to be that. Because the thing is, Leo, these things that have been a little heartbreaking because it's come to an end. Maybe some relationship has come to an end. A dynamic has changed. I feel like something has changed for you. And this has already happened. But it's giving you the space to really focus on the things you want to focus on between now and the end of the year. It could have been that a best friend moved away that you used to go meet up at the gym with every day, and then you go to coffee after, and maybe do a little shopping every now and then, and next thing you know, 3 hours are gone. Sure, that was beautiful. It's heartbreaking. It's over. But now you can use those 3 hours for something else that you really need to put your attention on. So whatever this thing is that's been a little bit heartbreaking that it came to an end, it is so that you can really focus. Get your work done, Leos. I do feel like for some of you, this is a change with work specifically, like the way you work, or the dynamics, the people you're surrounded by when you work, something like that has changed, but it is going to allow you to really step into this new way of being on a daily basis. By the end of the year, I feel like you're going to be in a totally different zone with your work. It may mean you literally work in a new location, but it could also just be the way that you work, your work flow. Like I said, if a colleague takes a job and moves out of the office that you used to sit there and chit chat with all day, but they're gone, all of a sudden now you're focused on something different. You're starting to work with a different colleague more. You're basically getting a new teammate, those kinds of things. So really positive for Leo coming into the end of the year. Just, go ahead and take the time you need to heal, but also see it as it was creating space for you to really buckle down and get some new things done with your creative projects. Of course, if you're retired, this could be whatever your legacy project is, whatever this next phase is for you. All right. I love that for Leos. Moving on to the Virgos. All right, Virgos. First, happy birthday season, Virgos. We have 2 of air. Indecision, avoidance, confusion. Okay, something that's you're needing to make a decision about, it looks like, between now and the end of the year. 4 of fire, look at that. Contentment, peace, and abundance, a happy home life, the successful completion of a project. I love it. I love this. And then Virgos, we have new partner. I always get like little angel bumps for this. Yeah, I do feel like Virgos, between now and the end of the year, you're going to be making some kind of decision regarding a relationship or a job or where you're living. And this is going to lead to somebody new in your life. Now, we are all getting new partner essentially. Remember, in the overall messages, if you're tuning in late, please go check out the themes for the rest of 2025 that I downloaded. But basically, we're all getting new team members on our spiritual team. But I feel like once you make the decision that you know is right for you, Virgos, you are going to be celebrating big time. You're going to love it. So it's almost like you're getting a job offer that's going to require you to move, or you're getting a promotion. For those of you who are retired, you're choosing to go throughout your day differently. Maybe you're signing up for a new gym or a new type of class, and you're going to be meeting somebody that's going to be your new partner in your day-to-day life with things you're doing. This does not have to be romantic. This could be just your new BFF that's coming in for you. But for some of you, it's whatever this mood, whatever this option that's being presented to you. Once you decide what you want and you really lean into the creativity of it, to the joy of it, to the passion of it, here comes this new person. So I'm really excited about this for you, Virgos. You're going to have to let me know who comes into your life between now and the end of the year that's new for you. And this person, there's going to be a lot of fiery passion. Now, again, if you're not looking for love, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be that person that's willing to travel the world with you and go to all the cool, historical places you've always wanted to go, or the spiritual retreats you've always wanted to do. This is somebody who's really going to be your buddy, Somebody's getting a new pet too. That's going to be your new partner. Ooh, I just got angel bumps there. And you're just going to be so in love. Like the two of you are soulmates, of course. But there is some kind of decision that's going to be presented to you pretty soon. You may already know what it is, but I feel like you don't know yet. It's coming soon. It's probably coming in with these eclipses. Something's going to be presented to you. You're going to have to make a decision. Please don't sit on the fence and be stuck in indecision. Now, if you don't like the two options being presented to you, remember what Chris Rex says, okay? Again, he's going to be here next week from Minnow Tarot. He says, with this card, don't forget the third option. This person is going, well, it's either this or that. And he calls it this or that thinking. I love that because he's right. We do tend to think we only have two options, but with Pluto and Aquarius, it's about that third, fourth, or fifth option that we might want to consider. So I really love that for the Virgos. You'll have to let me know, who are these new people coming into your life? Hey, Chelsea. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I love sharing stories. I forget to do it sometimes. And then sometimes I go off on a big tangent, don't I? I'm like, oh, let's get back to the topic here. But it's just whatever I'm downloading. All right. So here we are with the Libras. Okay. We have the 9 of Water card here. Wishes, dreams, happiness. Loving that. That's a card of contentment, emotional fulfillment. Page of Air. Challenging information, delays or changes to plans, truth delivered without tact. And finally, steady progress. Yep, steady progress. Yeah, so honestly, I think Libras, especially once we get into your birthday season and you're getting really clear on your goals for next year, for the rest of the year, you're going to be focusing on what are the things that are going to bring me this, sense of happiness as I go throughout my day. And what are the things that tend to be jarring? So this Page of Air card, again, it's that impulsive, quick energy, the sky is falling type of information that comes through that tends to get people all in a frenzy. And I feel like Libras, you're wanting to get away from that this next year. You're between now and the end of the year, you're going to be looking for ways that you can make steady progress with the goals that you have and not allow this really disruptive energy to interfere. This Page of Air card could also be somebody younger. It could even be like a young pet, like a puppy who's constantly needing your attention. And you're like, I want to go back to a time when things were a little calmer around here because everybody loves puppies, but they are a disruptive energy. This puppy's growing, this puppy's learning, but this could be a young child. This could be a new person in your life that's just learning the way things go. But I do feel like, there's some information that is going to come through pretty abruptly. And Libras, your goal between now and the end of the year is, how do I set myself up for success so that this frenzy energy isn't knocking me out of balance? Does that make sense? Because you guys are good at seeing both sides of things. But if you get out of balance, it can be a little bit of a plummet for you guys, because if the scales get tipped too far in one direction, right? Your sign is a scale. If one scale gets tipped too far in one direction, it can be hard to bring that balance back in. So your focus between now and the end of the year is, how much of this information do I let in? How much do I let it affect me? So it would be something as simple as, you know what? I'm going to go through the first 3 hours of my day without turning on the news, that kind of a thing. And you know what? That may sound scary to some of you, especially you Libras who like to be in the know of what's going on. But sometimes, I will tell my higher self, my spiritual team, hey, if there's information I need to know, find a way to let me know. But I'm not reading the news headlines until I've finished my meditation, my journaling, my workout, whatever. Okay. And what always happens, if it's something really important, my husband will bust in the room and tell me. I'll get a text from a family member. Hey, did you see this? Somehow the information, I'll be in getting some coffee somewhere and I'll hear it on the TV or the radio, that's in the store. It'll find its way to me if it needs to. So just set that intention. And maybe it is you're just having to turn off a lot of those podcasts, a lot of those headlines, so that you can focus on the things that you really want to focus on and bring them to completion by the end of the year. I feel like a lot of you are going to be completing something. Maybe it's a cycle, maybe it's a project, but there's something you're completing by the end of the year, and it's going to take that focus. It's going to take turning off those distractions. All right? Great for the Libras there. Moving on to the Scorpios. How did I manage to pop onto? There we go. Where are we? Okay. Now we go with the Scorpios. You'd think by now I'd have this down pat. All right. So Scorpios, we have, for you guys between now and the end of the year, we have this 2 of Fire card. Love it. planning, partnering, progress. Yes. Yes, I know you guys have been doing a lot of work like that. We have renewal, review and evaluate a favorable assessment, and move in a new direction. I have a very clear message coming through for you about this right now. Let me see what your oracle card is before we wrap it up. Focus on service. Yeah. You know, Scorpios, you've been working really hard to attract those ideal partners in your life. This could be romantic, but it could also be like a collaborative partner or the ideal boss who really sees you for your talent. It could be, you know, that BFF that you do everything with. There's something you've been really focused on with that. And not all of it has quite gone in the direction you wanted, but it's because of the approach. And you are meant to go in a different direction with some of your partnerships and some of the people in your life. And the key is going to be focused on how can I be of service, but maintain my autonomy. So there's something where you have kind of lost yourself in a person, a place, or a thing, a project, right? You kind of immersed yourself, which that's what you're so good at doing, Scorpios, is you're so devoted. You really immerse yourself in helping somebody and serving others or loving them, right? But it's not serving you to be in that place, right? Where you're so immersed. So I see you between now and the end of the year taking a new approach to the people around you. And I know we've talked about this in past readings, and it's so true that a lot of times Scorpios will see the answer before everybody else in the room does. And even when the Scorpio is like spelling it out, like, look, A plus B equals C. How do you not see this is the answer? And they're like, well, we're not sure we see it that way. And it's just like, how can you not see it? And having to be patient for them to get on board, this is where you want to go focus on service for yourself. When the other people in the room, the partners, the people you want in your life are not on the same page, go do you. Go work on you. Go do things for yourself. Be compassionate. Do self-loving things. Do self-healing things. Do things to support your day-to-day routine. And that's going to be what really helps you launch into 2026 with this new feeling of autonomy and being seen. And that's the thing I've been getting for you guys all year. I just got angel bumps down my left side, if that means anything to any of you, is it is your turn to be seen. But sometimes when people see things to the degree of truth that you present it, Scorpios, it's scary. It's scary, and it takes them time to get on board. A lot of times when people really see the truth, their next reaction is to be angry. And that's where the whole don't shoot the messenger comes in. A lot of times you Scorpios are the delivering the truth, and people don't want to hear it. So go focus on being of service to yourself. Let them catch up. Send them love. We're not abandoning the people we want in our life. But that's something I see you doing, is you're going to be moving in a new direction. I think you guys already know what this is. It's like, just keep going. Just keep going in that direction of, hey, I'm going to go do me. When you're ready to talk about that truth bomb I just delivered, I'm here. I love you. See you when you're ready, right? All right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we just got to call a spade, right? Yes, definitely your turn to step in the spotlight, AC. I love it. All right. I'm going to get this right this time. Sages. Yay, Sages. All right. For you, for the rest of 2025, we have the 7 of Earth card. Look at that. Investment, assessment, patience. You've gotten this card a lot with me this year. We have the Ego card. The Ego card, a false sense of entrapment, overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. And we have the Ask sign. Yay. Yeah. You know, I've been getting this so much for the Sages because there are things that you can use to shift the way you spend your day to day, but there's a little bit of being unwilling to let them unfold the way you want them to. Like you feel stuck in a relationship dynamic, or you feel stuck in a job, you feel stuck in a routine, you don't see a way out of it. But you're being shown that the seeds have been planted. There is a way out. There is a way to shift that energy and perspective. So ask your higher self for guidance here, okay? You've got Uranus in your opposite sign in Gemini. So that's, that's going to bring a lot of disruption, but ask for the innovation, ask for the guidance. I had this really cool opportunity it was in July, to connect directly with Uranus. I hadn't done it before, but I was at a point in time where I was like, something needs to shift. I was on an airplane trying to get my kids and me home before this line of thunderstorms came in. I think I shared a little bit about this on one of the lives. And I decided, I'm sitting on my Sun and Uranus line in astrocartography, like literally the airport is like sitting right there. And I said, well, then I'll just see if Uranus can help. So I got quiet on the plane and I asked Uranus for help. Within 15 minutes, our plane had been rerouted. We spun around, taxied to a different runway and took off in an opposite direction from the storms, and we're able to get home. Because if it had been, 17 or 18 minutes, we would have been grounded on that tarmac for who knows how many hours. So that's the thing. You want to be careful and intentional with the energy you're connecting with, but don't forget to ask. And since you do have Uranus in your opposing sign, your opposite sign, Sagittarius, go listen to the Gemini reading. Go see what you can pull out of that. Get for guidance there so you see that you're not trapped. You're not trapped in these things. All right? I love that for the Sagittarius. All right, and we're moving on to the Capricorns, my rising sign here. What do we have? We've got 6 of air, relief, hope, moving on. We've got 6 of fire, victory, good news is on its way, public recognition or awards. And Cupid, ooh, butterflies. I'm getting some butterflies. Okay, Capricorn, there's something you've been really wanting to bring to completion, a cycle, a project, something you want to move on into a new phase. It's coming for you, Capricorns. Keep going. But remember, we're doing this differently than we've done it in the past. Pluto and Uranus do not want us to do it the way we used to do it. They want us to go higher. They want us to innovate. So there is something that you are completing that's going to bring you a lot of relief. It is going to bring you recognition. You're going to be celebrating these completions. And I feel like it's going to bring a lot of love in for you, Capricorns. And I'm not just saying that from my own perspective. It feels like there's a love for something you're creating or a love for something you're offering that you don't even realize how much people are going to recognize it and say, this is what we've been waiting for. Now, for some of you, you really are attracting like romance and new love. It could be if you're already married or you're already in a relationship, you're finally moving past a challenging phase, which you have been dealing with a lot of stuff relationship-wise with everything going on in your 7th house. Jupiter is in your 7th house of long-term commitments, relationships, marriage, right? So I do think you're going to see things really move in a direction that brings a lot of calm. It's almost like you've been dealing with this stormy energy in all relationships, not just relationships to your romantic partner, but relationship to children, parents, your job, colleagues. And you're going to see that you're going to finally get to the end of all this hard work and be able to celebrate. So by the time we get to your birthday season, Capricorn, I think you're really going to be feeling the love. So just keep going because calmer waters are right around the corner between now and the end of the year. I really feel like if you keep focused on the things you want to get done throughout September, by the time we hit October, you're going to see the pace and where it is and how it's a calm, steady pace that's really moving you into that next phase. All right? I love that for the Capricorns. Moving on to the Aquas. If you're tuning in late, quick reminder, I'm so excited to have Chris Reck back on my channel next week from Minnow Pond Tarot, so we'll be doing all signs then. Hello, Aquas. All right, Aquarius, we have the High Priestess card, intuition, wisdom, patience. We have the Two of Earth card. Too much going on at once, the need to make a decision, consider a more playful approach. Interesting. And What do you desire? All right. Yes, I do feel like Aquas, you've been wanting to move into a different place with your relationships and with your work. And it's been hard for you to do that because of all the different things going on around you in the collective and the people you work with in your internal life. It's almost like you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm ready to be in a place where things are calmer. I'm away from this energy that's chaotic. But now where do I put that energy? Okay. And that's kind of what you're deciding between now and the end of the year. You're saying, I want to move out of this chaos, but then what do I do next? Like, have you ever had that feeling like at the end of a school year or when a semester was over in college and all the frenzy of getting ready for final exams and finishing up all the things that you have to do at the end of a school year? And then it's like the first day of summer and you're like, well, now what do I do? Because you're so used to being busy. You're excited to have this whole summer ahead of you. And you're like, what am I going to do with my summer? You know what I mean? That's what I feel like is going on for Aquas right now. It's like, I don't know where to put my time and energy. And this card, what do you desire, is saying, ask your heart. The answer's right there. Your heart knows what you want to do. I'm going to do a little plug here for those of you who are interested at all in astrology. It's not a plug for me, it's a plug for astrology. I have found that your astrology chart can help you figure out what your heart is asking. If you work with a qualified astrologer, they can kind of point you in certain directions and they can ask you the right questions to help you ask these questions. And for me, it really was getting to know my own birth chart, studying it, understanding what are the things that light my heart up and what planets and aspects do I have to that area of my chart that can support me. So I feel like if you are unclear about where to put your energy, go seek that third-party advice. Maybe it's getting a reading from an angel reader or a tarot reader. Maybe it's getting an astrology or human design reading. But if you're feeling in that place of where do I put my time and energy, ask your heart. Ask your heart. And if you need a little support or validation, that's what those intuitives are for, okay? And you're so intuitive too, Aquas, but just remember, we all need each other. All ships rise with the tide. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask for that third-party advice. That Wayne Dwyer quote is something about, when you're inside the jar, it's hard to read the label on the outside, okay? Get somebody else to help you read the label. You don't have to do it by yourself. All right, and finally to our beautiful Pisces. I did it again. I did the wrong sign. Sorry, Pisces. There we go. All right, Pisces. Again, one of my favorite Pisces. I love all my Pisces. You're all my favorites. I have so many beautiful Pisces in my lives, but one of the ones I love doing shows with, Chris Reck from Middle Pond Tarot. He will be here next week at 11 a.m. Central. We'll be doing a full reading there. Let's see what we have for you guys. And of course, I'll wrap this up with some action guidance here that's going to really help us. Hey, Linda. Good to see you. Oh, I'm so glad. Good to see you there. Hey, Janie. I'm glad you're here too. Yes, I like that too, AC. Yep. All righty. Yes, AC's an astrologer. Yes, she said, I can attest. So, okay, here we have for Pisces, we have Ace of Fire. Opportunity, creativity, action. Ooh, doing something new and exciting, Pisces. What's this new thing you're doing between now and the end of the year? Balance. Okay. All right. I'm hearing some messages coming in for you here. It says the need for balance and moderation, cooperation, compromise, wait for the right time, and acceptance. The acceptance card. Okay, Pisces, there's something new you're doing between now and the end of the year that really lights your heart up. You may already know what this is. For some of you, this is a new romantic relationship. For some of you, it's a new project, a new hobby, a new project with work, a new position that you're doing. There's something you're really, really excited about, but bring in that moderation, okay? We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to overindulge. You have Jupiter trining your sign because it's in Cancer. Water signs trine each other, right? All the different signs trine each other. So with Jupiter trining your sign, there is a risk of overindulgence. And I always think of that, that whatever, that where people will get in a brand new relationship and they're just so absorbed in it that they ignore their health, they ignore their work, they ignore their friends, right? And they don't come up for air until things are so out of whack that it makes it harder to get back on track again. You know, what do they call it when the dating 15, where you're working out at the gym every day, being super healthy, and then you meet somebody and you're going out to eat all the time, and next thing you know, you're putting on weight and out of shape and ignoring the gym, right? That's just an easy example. This is whatever this is for you. So this acceptance card is accepting the pace at which things need to go in order for you to have that balance. So whatever this new thing is that you're really excited about, allow that balance and allow the things to unfold in a way that is sustainable. That's what I'm seeing, right? And it doesn't mean you can be totally passionate and excited about these things. Just always ask yourself, am I still balancing those other areas of your life? And you have those 3 areas of your life: your health and fitness, your career and finance, if you're retired, that's your legacy, what you're leaving behind, what you're working on day to day. And then, of course, your relationships, which not just romantic, right? You don't want to ignore your kids because of your new romance. You don't want to ignore your parents or your best friends. You want to have that balance. So basically, between now and the end of the year, Pisces is, definitely get excited. Definitely get excited about this new thing, but do what you got to do to maintain that balance and accept the things that you got to do to create it and maintain it and make it sustainable. Okay? All right. I love that. Let's do some action cards before we wrap up here. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So these action cards, I'm going to pull right now so that you can start focusing on them between now and the end of the year. And please do, if you haven't already, sign up for my free newsletter at devindoer.com. You will also get my free ebook. My gift to you, Is It a Sign, if you haven't already. And that way you can be notified when we get this journaling challenge going, because I haven't worked out all the logistics yet and how I'm going to set it up. But we did a survey and so many of you were like, yes, let's do it again. And I love doing it with you. It's good for me too. So let's stay in touch on that for sure. And let's see some actions to take between now and the end of the year. First, we have this 4 of Fire: prosperity, contentment, celebration. Yes, we need to be celebrating. We need to be celebrating our successes between now and the end of the year, that your accomplishments. I'm going to pull all this together. We have the Dreamer card: beginning, believing, protecting. You may be celebrating that you started something. And then we'll pull it all together in a minute. We have 7 of Air: awareness, caution, and consequences. 7 of Air. All right, so let's pull all this together. Your actions to take between now and the end of the year is to make sure you are celebrating the things you've started, the things you've accomplished, the things you've completed, and just celebrate life. That's what we wrap up the year with. Holiday season, there's a lot of celebrations, but celebrate just the joy of life, right? That you are here, that you are having this human experience. And also anything new you've started, keep going. Or you've been thinking about starting something new, do it before the end of the year. We don't want to put it off till next year. If you have been wanting to start something new, do it between now and the end of the year. However, we do have this 7 of Air card, which is a card of tactics, okay? Some readers will say this is somebody lying, cheating, or stealing, or doing something behind your back. But if you are tactical, if you are clear about what you want, if you are planned and organized, then you'll be fine. You'll be able to handle whatever comes your way. So what I'm seeing with this card is make a plan, okay? Now, September, October is a great time to start planning 2026. It's really never too soon, but a lot of people will start doing it September, October, so that you can start putting dates on the calendar for next year. And definitely be very clear on your plan. So I want you to celebrate what you can. I want you to start those new things. Don't wait, but make a plan. All right. Be tactical about it. You're not just running out and starting it without any thought about where you're headed, what's it going to cost, how much time it's going to take. You are planning it out. we're just asked to do that, period, because we have Saturn retrograde right now. We've got some other things going on in the sky that's going to slow you down. Use anything that feels like a slowdown as a time to plan things out, and you'll be just fine. Well, as always, it's such a joy to be with all of you. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of 2025. Bye, everybody.